So today, our practice will have a theme. We will target digestion. One of the things I've been thinking about in my practice, not just on the mat, but in my life, is what I have come to think of as the 4 pillars or cornerstones of health. And to me, those are sleep. I think sleep is one of the most underrated pillars and barometers of our health. 2, nutrition, which probably isn't a surprise. And within nutrition is our ability to digest not just what we're eating, but our emotions, the things that are going on around us on an experiential basis. And 3, exercise. 4, sense of, this one's hard for me to summarize in one word, but I would call it a sense of spirituality. And in that category, I put emotions and relationships, if that makes sense. So today we'll focus on the 2nd pillar of this idea of holistic health, and that is digestion and nutrition. So with that, everything we do will be targeted at the gut, the belly, the ascending, descending, and transverse colon. So we'll start out in a child's pose. There's a lot of different ways to take child's pose. Not everyone loves to take it in their traditional manner, which is just bringing your knees down. Your knees can be wide or together, and the arms can stretch forward. Your arms can also come down alongside the feet. But if bearing weight on your knees is not something you can do because it doesn't feel comfortable or you have knee injuries, you could flip that upside down, hug your knees into your chest, and you could rest your feet against like a wall surface so that you're getting that same compression. You could also take some props underneath you, like bolster underneath the belly. You can add something in between the calves and the hips. A lot of times there's a lot of space in between hips and heels in child's pose. So go ahead and assemble that first shape, however it's going to work for you and your body. And just really the key here is to let it be your own. Doesn't matter what it looks like. What I want you to pay attention to is how it feels. And this will be a shorter hold just to get us started, just to get a sense of what is going on in the digestive tract today. Can you let your forehead rest on something tangible, whether it be the backs of the hands, the yoga mat, or one of your props? You start by relaxing the feet. And just notice how the feet feel from the toes, the top of the foot, the sole of the foot, the ankle. Completely relax the feet. Notice how the knees feel. Whether you're bearing weight on the knees or not, how does it feel to have them in that extreme flexion? Can you completely relax your knee joint? Awareness up to the hips, noticing how the hips feel. Does one hip feel different than the other? And this is where we start to get into that sense of digestion, because here in the hip crease, we're compressing with the thighs resting against the belly, the ascending colon on the right and the descending colon on the left. Just notice how the belly feels today. I'll take 2 more breaths here. And we'll start to come up to a tabletop shape. So if you do have props underneath you, you can set those off to the side for a moment. And if you're on your back, you'll roll over onto hands and knees. And we'll just spend a few moments articulating the spine up and down in this cat and cow-like shape. And just do what feels natural here. So maybe it's the inhale where you're arching the spine towards the ceiling, making that cat-like spine. Maybe it's the exhale when you draw the belly down and the heart forward. And then we'll start to add on a little bit of circular movement, shoulders to hips. You could also turn that into more of like an S curve, shoulders, and then the hips kind of sway side to side. You're just adding on any non-linear movement through the body. Wake up the shoulders, the hips, notice how they feel. Let your head and your neck get involved. And keep breathing deep in and out through the nose. And so if you're going in one pattern or one direction, just switch that out, change the pattern or the direction. One more breath round. Good. Now we'll come down onto our belly. We'll build a sphinx shape. So it's almost the exact opposite of your child's pose in that. In your child's pose, you're extending the vertebrae along the back of the spine. In your sphinx pose, you're compressing the vertebrae. And you're also letting the belly compress down into the mat. So when you come into sphinx at first, check out your elbows. First thing you're checking out is your elbows. So are they out to the sides? That puts a lot of extra stress on this AC joint, this little small shoulder girdle joint. So can you get your elbows in line with your shoulders? You could take your thumbs up to your shoulders. It makes one line, kind of like you're a little robot, just to test that out. And then notice if your elbows are behind the shoulders. Also another thing that puts too much stress on the shoulder joint. So you want to pull your elbows at least underneath the shoulder joint or forward of it. If you need to decrease the sensation in the back, you just continue walking your hands straight forward so that more of the ribs and the chest can relax towards the floor. Now here, you can let the chin draw in towards the chest. Certainly if you have blocks at home, you can place a block underneath the forehead. If you have a pile of blankets or pillows, you can rest the forehead on that. And the idea here is to relax the shoulders, the neck, and the head. If you don't have blocks at home and you want something more tangible, I recommend hardback books. You can get creative. We'll spend about 2 minutes here as well. And start to take the breath deeply in and out through the nose. Let the breath be fully expansive on your inhale, and let everything soften on your exhale. Bringing your attention and your awareness back to the sensations in the belly. Notice how this feels on the stomach. Do you feel, hear, or sense any kind of movement or sound in the region of the torso? And certainly a lot of that feedback that you get from your body does have to do with what you've eaten and when the last time you ate was, what your water consumption is like, but also stress plays a key role in your ability to digest and absorb nutrients. So that's something to note as well. We'll take 2 more deep breaths here. If you have something underneath your forehead, just lift your head and move that off to the side. Bring your palms back underneath your shoulders. We'll cross back up to tabletop. And then you can choose what you want to do here in between shapes. You can move back to child's pose. That might feel nice. You can move in and out of cat and cow. If you want something a little bit bigger, you could take downward facing dog for a few moments. We'll take about 3 breath cycles in between shapes. Last 2. Last big breath in. Big breath out. Okay, so next we'll start to build a belly down shavasana. We'll use a lot of our props. So if you have not grabbed your extra pillows and your extra blankets, now would be the time, because I'm going to suggest that you use them for this. So at least have 1 blanket that you can roll up into a long kind of Tootsie Roll shape at the back of your mat. This is where your ankles are going to rest. The tops of your ankles will rest right here on that blanket roll. And then you can either, if you have like thick blankets, you could fold those over and make kind of a bolster-like shape, thickness. You could grab a couch cushion. You could stack a couple of your pillows together. I have this nice thick bolster that I'm going to use. So recreate whatever it is you need with whatever props you have. And then from the side view, you can see that this is the length of most of my torso. So my hips get a little support, my belly gets support, my chest gets support, but I have all this space for my chin and my nose above the cushion. So when I come down to my belly, I'm going to rest my pelvis there, the whole length of my belly and my chest. And then my chin, my neck, my entire head can be above the cushion. Several options here for resting the forehead. Again, you can stack books or use a block if you have one. You can stack pillows. You could also just use the backs of your hands, or you could make little fists with the elbows wide. And if you are resting your forehead on something tangible like a prop, and you want to relax your arms down alongside the body, you could try that. Really, it's whatever you want to do with your arms. There's no right or wrong here, as long as it feels relaxing and it's not causing tension in your shoulder joint. We'll start to take a little bit longer in our holds. We'll be here for about 5 minutes. If you need to make any adjustments. If you feel like you're too low on your bolster, scoot higher, vice versa. Kind of play around until you feel like you've found that Goldilocks place to rest. So just like you've done before, start to draw your awareness down to the belly, to the torso, and notice how this feels. Start again the deep diaphragmatic breath. Breathing into the diaphragm means basically breathing into the full length of the belly. So the belly expands, presses into whatever it is you're lying on. And then you let your belly soften back into the spine. As you lie here, offering the full weight of the body into your props, notice if there's anywhere you're holding tension. Scan the body. Imagine releasing that tension with each exhale breath. few more breath cycles here. Okay, so we'll stick with this belly down shavasana. We'll just layer onto it, and we'll add a bit of a spinal twist, just a baby spinal twist, and some shoulder work. So we'll continue compressing the abdomen. One thing that happens when you're in this full compression of the belly is you get the transverse colon as well as ascending and descending. Transverse colon goes straight across the lower abdomen. So it's worthwhile to stay here for a little bit longer. So all you need to do really is just scoot a little bit more forward on your cushion, whatever is supporting your belly, so that your arms have space above that cushion. And you'll start by just reaching your right hand forward so that you can thread the needle left arm underneath the right armpit. That left palm's going to face the ceiling. So you're in this upper body, thread the needle. And then you can choose here whether you'd like to take the forehead down, straight down in a neutral position for the spine, or you can turn the head off to the side, resting the left side of the head. And ideally, your neck is fairly neutral, so that means it's kind of in line with the shoulders. So I would highly recommend using a prop underneath the side of the head or beneath the forehead. That can again be those hardback books, the pillows, the blankets. Find that height that works for you, and it might be a little bit different since we all have different things going on in the shoulder joint. Sometimes that means we need more height. Sometimes it means we need less. You can choose to stretch that right arm forward above your yoga mat if you like, or you can just let it softly rest. Bending the elbow, let the forearm rest on the mat. We'll be on this first side for just about 3 minutes. Working with a delicate joint like the shoulders, we take a little bit less time. It doesn't take long for that fascia connective tissue to start to loosen up. Let the weight of that left elbow, left shoulder rest heavy into the mat. Relax your jaw. Relax all the muscles of the face. One more breath in, breath out. You start to slide that right hand back underneath the right shoulder. So really take your time to free your left arm. And we'll just start to set up for that second side. So you can stretch that left hand forward above your mat, make some space underneath the left armpit, and then you're going to reach the right arm all the way underneath. Let the right palm face the ceiling. And the right elbow relax. And the back of the right shoulder relax. The goal is not to get the right shoulder to touch the ground. We're just providing a little bit of a spinal twist and a little bit of opening for the scapula. That's the shoulder blade on the back of the body. Take something underneath the forehead if you're keeping your neck neutral, or underneath the right side of the head if you're turning your head off to the side. Be sure that your neck feels like it's getting the support it needs. It doesn't have to be the same kind of support you took on that first side. And settle back into the breath. Let's take 2 more deep breaths here on this side. You can really slowly take your time, start to release the right arm, bringing that left palm back towards the left shoulder. We'll take some time here in between shapes to do something neutral. So you could press up to tabletop, cat and cow. You can move back to child's pose. You can move up into downward facing dog. Those options are always there. I think I need a way. I hate to disturb my cat. She just is so comfortable. I need one of those wrap thingies that people use to carry their babies in, but for a cat. All right, moving on. So this next shape will be more of a full twist. Twists are one of the easiest ways to work with the digestive system because when we twist our core torso, we start to compress the vital organs of the body, which most of them live in the belly area. So it's like a squeeze and soak method. Like if you're going to wring out a dirty washcloth, you're wringing it out while you're in the twist. So you're keeping it in that wrung tight position. And when you release, it allows all that fresh blood and oxygen to push through the vital organs, oftentimes removing any plaque that's been built up there, removing any scar tissue that might be there in the joints or in between the connective tissue. So really good for your gut health. All right, so this will be a deer-like twist. We'll start off by taking whatever it was we were just lying on, your pillows, your blankets, however you had them stacked. Or Mika's gonna try and demonstrate for me, I guess. I'm gonna scoot my left hip up close to that short edge of the bolster or your cushion, but my hip is still on the yoga mat. And then you can either stack your top leg on top of your bottom leg, two bent knees, or you can pull that top knee behind the sole of the front foot. So I have my left sole of the foot just kind of resting towards my right knee or thigh. And then you turn towards your left, you're framing out your cushion. And already I can feel that twist sensation through my hips and my low back. And then from there, you can start to work your way down to your forearms. And I recommend starting off with your nose, your gaze in the same direction as your knees. And then you can see I have this cushion a little bit elevated. I have a block underneath the top part. You can lay this flat if you want more of a twist sensation. You can heighten the level of the incline if you want less of a twist sensation. So really customize it to your body and your spine. We'll be here for about 5 minutes, so find that first shape. Take your time to set it up so that it works for you. If you get into that first shape and you're like, kinked your neck, your shoulder, maybe you adjust the height of the ramp. And so the more you get of your belly and the left part of your chest onto your cushion, the more of a twist sensation you'll be likely to feel. You can always add layers of blankets over the lower half of the body if you're starting to get chilly. And start to take that breath again deep into the belly. You want more of a sensation through the spine, especially the upper spine, shoulders, and neck. You can lift the head, turn the gaze away from the knees, so now your right cheek would be resting. That doesn't work for everyone, especially if you've got anything going on in the neck or the shoulder joint. It causes any sharp shooting pain or tension. Just release, bring the left cheek back down. Pay particular attention to the fluidity of the breath here. If you've got your right cheek down, you're gazing away from your knees. So just slowly unwind the cervical spine, unwind the neck, relax that left cheek back down. One last breath in and breath out. And start to slide your palms underneath your shoulders. Take your time to press your way off of your cushion. And come onto our hips. So you're just at a seat at the very base of your cushion. You can stretch your legs out. Come to lying down on your cushion just for a few moments here. Spread your arms out wide. Relax the back of your head. Relax your legs. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Just take 3 breath cycles, and then we'll set up for our second side. Even though we know where we're going next, it's important to pause in between shapes to allow the blood and oxygen to move through the body. To also just practice patience. So press your way off of your cushion, come back to that seat just briefly. We'll turn our right hip towards the short edge of the cushion. And then again, remember you can either choose to stack your legs, so your left leg can stack on top of your right knee, or you can take that left knee behind the sole of the right foot, so you have more of this wide stag-like shape with the legs. An extra blanket if you think you might get cold. Turn to your right, frame out your cushion. Slowly, take your time, walk yourself back to your forearms and your elbows. Remember, we're starting off a little bit more shallow, so we'll bring the right cheek down. You're gazing in the same direction as your knees. Just for the first minute, and then I'll give you the option to add on the cervical spine twist. So if you wish to add on, you can pick up your head, you can turn your gaze away from your knees. Your left cheek would now be down on the cushion, but just paying particular attention to your breath. How does that feel in your neck, your shoulders? For me, it feels really quite crunchy, so I'm going to unwind and come back to that starting shape. Be mindful of your body. It's always going to tell you what's going to work and what won't work. The practice is not to force, but to learn to listen. If you've got your left cheek down on your cushion, very slowly, first just unwind the neck, the cervical spine. Take your time with that and then set your right cheek back onto the cushion. Relax there. Take long, slow, deep belly breaths. Last two breath cycles on this side. Start to slide the hands underneath the shoulders. Take your time pressing your way off of your cushion. Unwind your spine. And then just briefly again, same thing we did on that first pass through. We set the sits bones evenly down on the mat, stretched the legs out, and came back onto the cushion. You could stretch your arms out wide to the side. Breathe in, cross the length of the collarbones, the chest, and the belly. And last two breath cycles. And press your way off of your cushion. And so our last asana or posture today will either be legs up the wall or draping your legs over a chair. Elevating the feet above the rest of the body is another great way to stimulate digestion. So you can choose, depending on what props you have. If a wall is close by and handy, get your sits bones as close as you can to the wall. Roll off to one side and then all the way up the wall, or you could take a chair, the stool, drape the backs of the legs over it. See if you can get the back of the knee in contact with whatever it is you're draping your legs on top of. If you are coming to legs up the wall with the legs extended, one thing that you might try that I really love to do is slightly elevating the tailbone. So I do this by first getting into my position at the wall, rolling over onto a shoulder, then my back. And then I'll bend my knees once I'm there, press my feet into the wall, lift my hips up just enough to slide something underneath my low back, a little bit of the sacrum. With slight lift there. And then I set my tailbone back down, my sits bones come back into contact with the wall. Back of the head is resting. That's totally optional, by the way. You don't have to take that little elevation of the low back. For some of us, it feels really good. For some of us, it doesn't work. There's no right or wrong. Just experience your body. What is it telling you? Take about 5 minutes here. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Notice your neck, your throat. Can you relax? Can you let your eyes close? Once more, draw your awareness down to your belly. Notice how this feels in that particular region of the body. Last two breaths. If you'd like to stay where you are for your final Shavasana, that's completely fine. If you've come to a place of peace, I highly encourage it. We will have a 3-minute Shavasana that will bring us right up to the top of the hour, 1 o'clock. And then we'll move into Yoga Nidra. If you're staying for Yoga Nidra, I recommend you set up your Shavasana so that it's really comfortable. Extra padding underneath the back, maybe lay out an extra blanket there, extra support underneath the backs of the knees, a rolled blanket or a pillow, and extra support underneath the head, plus a blanket over the length of the body so that you don't get cold. Yoga Nidra is absolutely optional, and if you do have to go back to your workday, I completely understand, but I highly encourage you to one of these days come back to the Outside the Studio YouTube channel and take advantage of the Yoga Nidra section, which is always going to be at the end of our Yin yoga sessions. Marking that mental transition into Shavasana, big breath in through the nose. Open your mouth, exhale, let the air come out. Start to feel the whole front body softening into the whole back body. Let your shoulders relax away from your ears. Slightly tilt the chin towards the chest. Let your eyes close and sink heavy into their sockets. Shavasana. We will now begin the practice of Yoga Nidra. There is nothing for you to do, just be. Relax the forehead, relax the eyes, relax the nose, the mouth, upper row of teeth, lower row of teeth. Let the tongue rest at the base of the palate, tip of the tongue resting at the bottom row of teeth. Relax all the muscles of the face. Feel the throat open. Soften the collarbone, the shoulders, the entire length of the arms. Relax. Relax the belly, the hips, thighs, knees, the lower legs, including the feet. Feel your whole body completely relax. Draw your awareness to your sense of sound. Notice any ambient background noise, whether you're listening to music or the silent hum of heat or air. The buzz of electricity. Can you broaden your sense of sound to take in the noises beyond the room that you currently occupy? Cars passing by in the street, people mowing their lawns, children playing. Dogs barking. Bring your awareness back to your breath, back to your body. Listen to the sound of your own breath. In through the nose, out through the nose. This inhale, this exhale. Sense a nurturing environment around you. And now begin to count backward on your breath. We will start at the number 10. With each exhalation, you will go backward 1 count. Next exhale is 9. Next exhale, 8. Continuing to count backwards on your breath until you reach 0. The closer you get to 0, the more the mind, the body, and the breath are established in a state of total rhythm and ease. Now let go of any counting, let go of any doing. If the mind wanders, that's okay. If you fall asleep, that's okay too. Yoga Nidra, use my voice like an anchor or a tether, a rope that keeps you aware of where you are, what you are feeling, and what you are experiencing. At the same time, allowing yourself to dive deeper into your consciousness. The mind relaxes and the heart awakens. Begin to move awareness around the body. Just listen to the sound of my voice. And as I name a body part, bring your attention and awareness there, letting any tension release and melt away. Just relax. Attention and awareness to the right shoulder, right elbow, right wrist, right thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger, palm of the hand, back of the hand, left shoulder, left elbow, left wrist, left hand thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger. The whole left arm completely relaxes, release. Awareness to the sternum, solar plexus, the navel, the pelvis, right hip, right knee, right ankle, top of the foot, sole of the foot, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Completely relax the entire length of your right leg. Awareness to the left hip, left knee, left ankle, top of the foot, sole of the foot, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, pinky toe. Completely relax the entire left leg. Become aware of the weight of your body. The whole body sinking heavily into whatever it is that you're lying on. Flesh, bones, everything sinking into the floor. Floor rising up to meet and hold you. Now cultivate a sense of weightlessness. Whole body is so light, as if it were filled with cotton or air. Feel the space between your hips, your shoulders, the back of your head, the backs of your hands, your heels, and whatever it is you're resting on. Your whole body is so light. You're so light you begin to float away from the floor. You see, feel, or sense your body rising up away from the floor. You're floating up higher now, above the dwelling that you currently occupy. You're floating up so high, and as you look down, you see your physical body resting in complete peace on the floor. You look to the horizon and you see the vibrant colors of the sky. In the distance, you see the twinkle of city lights. White puffy clouds float by against a background of vibrant blue sky. You feel the kiss of the sun warming your body, your soul, your spirit. Now bring your awareness back to the space of the room that you currently occupy. Without opening your eyes, see the room around you, the many objects, shapes, sounds, and sensations in the room that you currently occupy. Begin to deepen the breath. The practice of Yoga Nidra is now complete. You slowly begin to awaken the physical body, fingertips and toes. Move your head right to left. If you need more time, feel free to stay as you are, but when you're ready to move on, big breath in, stretch the arms long overhead. Bring the legs together, point the toes, stretching into the length of the body. And on your exhale, bending knees one at a time, rolling off to a side, find fetal position. Can you keep your eyes closed here or a soft gaze? I'm going to rise up to a comfortable seat briefly. Let's take a moment to close our class. Let your palms rest facing down on tops of the thighs. Grow tall through the crown of your head, root down through your sit bones. Feel your spine lengthen out. Bring your hands together at your heart, bowing your chin into your chest. Take a moment to honor your effort, your practice. It is my hope that you remember you will always be okay, that you find a white light that guides you and keeps you safe, that you have hope, health, and happiness. Namaste.